It is I, Major Merger, also known as Sinclaire Manning. I'm a second-year grad student here at UT. Usually I have my partner in crime, Astro Bit, up here with me, but he gave a talk down in San Antonio today. But he's still here in the audience if you want to say hi. But all right, let's get into the news topics of the month. All right, you guys just heard about Saturn and its moons, so you all are experts already. It's a Trappist, talked about the interesting ones that can potentially harbor life. I'm talking about ones that just look a little funky. So the Cassini spacecraft captured these new images of Pan on the right and Mimas down on the bottom left. So Cassini launched from Cape Canaveral on October 15, 1997, and after a 7-year journey, arrived at Saturn in 2004. But this month, on March 7th, Cassini took these images of Pan and one of Saturn's 62 known moons. So, like, Earth is kind of slacking here, I think. But that's okay. So these images have 8 times better resolution than previous ones, and you can see the rather odd shape that Pan has. It's been described as a ravioli, a dumpling, an empanada. So whatever cuisine you like, there is a description for it. But so Pan orbits inside Saturn's ring system, which is pretty cool, and there actually was an image of this in Danny's talk. And is thought to have first formed its more spherical midsection first before infalling material gathered in this narrow ridge. And for any Star Wars fans out there, you might already guess what Mimas is called down here on the bottom left. It is known as the Death Star moon, due to this large crater you can see on the right-hand side. And we've known about Mimas for a while, but this new image really shows off the resemblance. And there's apparently also a moon of Saturn that resembles a walnut. So, I mean, props to Saturn for all its wacky moons. I don't know. All right. So I'll first preface this by saying this is an artist's impression. This is not a real image, but it's an impression of a Jupiter-mass planet passing really close in front of its host star. But the real story here is that there is a giant planet, a little larger than the size of Jupiter, known as Celt 16b, and this planet is on a crash course with its host star, Celt 16. So Celt 16b is 1,300 light years from Earth and orbits a mere 0.02 astronomical units from its star. So for reference, the Earth orbits the Sun at an average distance of 1 astronomical unit, or 93 million miles. So this planet orbits its star at about 1/20th the distance between Mercury and the Sun. So due to its close proximity, the surface of Celt 16b can reach about 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's like a July day here in Austin. And it experiences powerful tides from its host star. So it's believed that the planet started out much farther away from the star, but its orbit has been disrupted by gravitational pulls from a companion star that it has. And astronomers at Vanderbilt University studying this system think the planet may be ripped apart by the tidal forces of the star in the next 500,000 years. So if this was one of the planets that hosted life, well, sucks to suck, I guess. I don't know. Let's hope it's not that one. Okay, so since the election of our new president, there's been a lot. They said it, not me. There's been a lot of uncertainty in the science community, and pretty much every other community for that matter, for how our president's agenda will affect funding in our field. While the 2018 federal budget requests have been released, if you want some light reading, and maybe to the surprise of no one here, especially based on some of his past tweets, one of the biggest hits to NASA's budget involves the Earth Sciences Department. So specifically, 4 Earth science-related missions will be axed if this proposal is passed by Congress. And the thing that they all have in common is that they would make significant contributions to climate change research. So, shocker, yeah, I heard that. So I only found logos for 3 of them because I think one is still really in its infancy. But the PACE satellite would study clouds and aerosols in the atmosphere and oceans. The Clareo Pathfinder would be the pilot mission before the Clareo satellite, which would help improve climate models. OCO3 would measure the carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere. And then Discover, which was actually launched in 2015 and warns us of impending solar storms, which is great, right? But other aspects of its mission would not be carried through if they don't get their funding. So if you want to know more about the budget proposal, you can go online and read the whole thing. It's called America First, a budget blueprint to make America great again. And I really enjoyed looking at it today. Okay, a slightly more fun topic, what we all love to do, drink a little beer. So did any of you guys enjoy any South by Southwest activities? Or were you like me and avoided it like the plague because you didn't want to deal with people? But on March 11th at South by, Budweiser announced its Bud on Mars initiative. Yeah, it's a real thing. During a panel discussion all about brewing beer on Mars. So the panel included Anheuser-Busch's Vice President of Marketing Innovation, I did not know that was a job, Valerie Toothman, former astronaut Clayton Anderson, and the Marketing and Communications Manager for the International Space Station, Patrick O'Neill, who are pictured here. So they discussed the technical difficulties that come along with trying to... Guys, can we finish the joke? They discussed the technical difficulties that come along with trying to enjoy a cold one in 0 gravity. If you imagine opening a pressurized can in 0 gravity, that's going everywhere. What else? Okay, and they also discussed the difficulties of how the pull of gravity on Mars, which is about 1/3 of that on Earth, would affect the brewing process. And plus, beer is about 90% water, if you didn't know, and that's kind of hard to come by on Mars, but I guess they're thinking about all these things. But apparently, Budweiser has already begun constructing experiments to take their barley malt up to the International Space Station to understand how low Earth orbits can affect the grains once they're then brought back down to Earth and planted. And they're trying to create some super grain that's isn't affected by drought or. I'm just, I don't know. But yeah, so it's good to know that someone has their priorities straight when it comes to colonizing Mars and what we really need to be thinking about here. The important questions, exactly. All right. And if you, this story came out just after our last Astronomy on Tap, but it's too big not to talk about. And if you didn't understand the references and it's a Trappist name, here you go. So many of you, I'm sure, have already heard about it, but Trappist 1, shown on the right here, is an ultra-cool dwarf star, 39 light years from Earth. It's only slightly larger than Jupiter and 2,000 times dimmer than the Sun, but it turns out it hosts 7 roughly Earth-sized planets, 3 of which lie in the star's habitable zone. Let's see. All right, so and then here we have the orbits of, it's kind of hard to see, the orbits of all 7, I'm afraid of, okay, right button. So here you have the orbits of Mercury, Venus, and Earth around our sun, and then shot up from that, it only takes up about this area when you actually look at the orbits of the Trappist 1 planets. All right, and so yeah, 3 of them are suggested to lie in the habitable zone, but the research team led by Michael Guillon suggests that all 7 could have water and the potential for life with the right atmospheric conditions, but more data is needed to make a statement with any certainty. And so initially only 3 planets were thought to orbit the star, but a 3-week campaign using the Spitzer Space Telescope revealed that the true number is 7. And so here is another artist rendition of the 7 Trappist planets, and compared to the first 4 planets in our solar system. And so you can see how close these orbits are. It has a period of 1.5 days, so everyone on that planet has the same birthday, which would kind of suck, but whatever. But yeah, this is a crazy system. The farthest one out only, goes around the sun in 20 days, so it's really cool stuff. And then as a special, if they haven't been taken already, we do have Trappist posters for free in our back table in the back bar. All right, that's all for me. Thanks, guys.